Voter turnout key for referendum. Minister reassures citizens. And Borneo Pacific appears before PAC.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Tuesday's news. Bougainvilleans who have registered to vote in the upcoming referendum have been encouraged to actually turn up and vote when polling begins. During a recent joint referendum roadshow, National Bougainville Affairs Minister Sepuka Temu made this call, saying that a high voter turnout would help in the negotiation process in ratifying the vote results. Sepuka was part of an awareness roadshow which also included the autonomous Bougainville government and United Nations. A joint awareness roadshow was recently conducted on mainland Bougainville, where National Bougainville Affairs Minister Sepuka Temu, together with ABG Minister for Peace Agreement Implementation Albert Pungau and the United Nations, provided an update on preparations towards the upcoming referendum vote and negotiations following this vote. With close to 200,000 eligible voters already registered to vote in the upcoming referendum, Bougainville Affairs Minister Sepuka Temu has called for all those who have registered to actually turn up to vote once polling begins on November the 23rd. Addressing people in Bana district, he emphasized the importance of a high voter turnout in determining the outcome to be negotiated and ratified by the PNG's parliament.
I want to see at least 180,000 those who have enrolled to be voting. If I see only 100,000, then we will call the time.
The recent joint awareness was one of the last before the people of Bougainville go to the polls to choose between greater autonomy or independence. According to Sepuka, from his interactions with people during this roadshow, there is a sense of preparedness on the part of Bougainvilleans, which is positive in the whole process.
People are ready. People know exactly what they are going to vote for, and hopefully yesterday with further clarification people understand the process. And I'm glad that our United representative was, UN representative was there, Stephen, and he also impressed upon the people that referendum around the world, such events don't take overnight. Some countries, he expressed, take 7 years, 9 years, and people welcome that information and that knowledge. And so this is the type of awareness that we wanted to do, and people need to be properly and fully informed, because information is power to decide the next political future for Bougainville.
The referendum on Bougainville's political future fulfills the third pillar of the Bougainville Peace Agreement, an agreement between the national government and leaders of Bougainville. Given the importance of the referendum in fulfilling the BPA, Sepuka has again reiterated the importance of ensuring that the period from when the results of the votes are delivered to the Governor-General, the negotiations of the vote outcome and final ratification by Parliament is managed well.
The greatest challenge is that the process of negotiating the final outcome before Parliament ratifies it, that period must be managed. That period, people must be occupied. That's a period where we are appealing to everybody, both in Bougainville leadership and national government leadership, that people must not revert back to the conflict situation. Because as we have been advised by our UN friends, that this type of negotiations don't get resolved overnight. Conflict situations don't get resolved overnight. And so that's the message that we will continue to manage post-referendum process.
The joint referendum awareness carried out by the national government, autonomous Bougainville government and United Nations, which began earlier this year, has covered most of North, Central and South Bougainville in preparation for the commencement of voting on November the 23rd. Mining Minister Johnson Tuke has assured the people of Basamuk and the nation that the government will continue to enforce compliance of necessary mining and safety laws for the Ramoniko mine in Madang province. This follows the Mineral Resources Authority's approval for the mine to resume its operations after on-site inspections. Minister Tuke says other issues surrounding the recent spillage of mine waste into the Basamuk Bay area will be addressed But for now, Ramoniko has met safety standards to operate.
These safety standards were met after a 2-day on-site inspection from the Mineral Resources Authority. Inspector Simon Gena explained Ramoniko has complied with a number of site verifications, which includes competency training for risk management and assessment during emergencies.
We did a 2 days verification on site, particularly on the critical rectification works that they have been doing. And then we were satisfied with the amount of work that they put in. And then having assessed what they have put on the ground, we gave the permission on the 25th of October.
MRA Managing Director Jerry Gary further added that Ramoniko has met a critical compliance, and that is to build adequate bunds or safety walls to stop any spillage from entering the environment. He says Ramoniko has put a permanent lock to its floodgates, and all water coming in and out of the processing plant will go through proper channels before it is released.
And now, as we speak, they have a permanent lock on the floodgate that allow excess flow, even from stormwater into the ocean. Right now, we are saying no stormwater or even overflow from the processing area will enter the ocean. And so that critical recommendation has been put in place, and the inspector was satisfied that that was adequate enough to reopen the operation at Basamuk.
With MRA mandated to look into mining operations and not its environmental impacts, Mining Minister Johnson Tuka says all operators in the country must comply with the country's mining and safety laws.
If we see that one company or one industry in the mining is not compliant, it's the safety department of MRA should take full carriage on that. So basically what we are trying to do is we want to assure Papua New Guinea, assure the industry that we should be operating within the guidelines of our Safety Act.
With the nickel mine now back into operation, there is still uncertainty on the damages caused to the environment. However, Minister Tuka says going forward, further discussions will be held with the Environment Department to ensure all mining environmental safety laws are met.
Any other engagements or any other related issues can be addressed in the near future in different forums. But for now, we'd like to declare that the mine is sound and it's safe to use in case of any other further occurrence of slurry spillage.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
The Department of Personnel Management is reinforcing existing basic human resource and administrative policies and guidelines that have been overlooked, neglected and intentionally breached. This is in compliance with the Borneo Pacific government's vision to take back PNG. The Minister for Public Service is encouraging all public servants to acknowledge Special General Order Number 11, which is aimed at putting on hold and correcting all applications of the delegated powers from all heads of departments, provincial administrators and other statutory authorities.
Tasking the Public Service Ministry with strategic priority and key result areas through the DPM, the Borneo Pacific government expects a review of legislation and general orders to ensure there is alignment and legal compliance. A statement released from the Office of the Public Service Minister Wesley Nukuj says the review of the Public Service Management Act will empower provinces to better manage provincial government personnel within the one national public service, further achieving quality workforce planning to ensure that the supply of skilled, qualified and competent staff meets the needs of a fast-growing population and ample job creation for efficient delivery of services to people. explaining further that the department is finalizing the implementation action plan with relevant stakeholders to work together in taking corrective measures in the cost-saving areas highlighted. It is known that public servants consume up to 35% of the nation's budget each year, and it is anticipated that through the implementation of this general order, the public service can expect to reduce its annual cost by 5 to 10%. Related concerns were raised over a week ago by the chairman of Public Service Reform Committee, Gary Jufa, about the public service in dire need of a major overhaul. Jufa says the committee is looking forward to a continuous effort with the Public Service Minister, the Cabinet, and the National Parliament to upgrade the public service machinery. Anet Kora, National EMTV News.
A new bridge funded by the Japanese government in the Wapenamanda district of Enga province has made road access easier for locals. The reconstruction of the Tale Bridge will allow basic services such as healthcare and education to get through and will boost the local economy by connecting the local people with the outside world. The Japanese government, through the embassy, has invested millions of kina in Enga province in the areas of health, education, roads and infrastructure, all towards the growth and development of Enga province. This is National EMTV News. We'll have more right after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Lae's acting Metropolitan Commander Christopher Kunyanban says much of the police operations in Lae are being supported by the community. Although they currently face challenges with fuel and vehicle maintenance, they continue to operate with support from business houses, individuals and also assistance from the Lae City Authority and provincial government.
Lae's acting Metropolitan Commander Christopher Kunyanban says without the support from the community in Lae, policing operations would be ineffective. They've had problems with fixing vehicles, however. The command has had assistance to service their vehicles.
We have a very serious problem with the vehicle maintenance. So our vehicles are currently serviced by community leaders that they support us with policing, business houses and individuals. So basically the operation in police operations now currently has been a community oriented. They are supporting us, not the National Department of Police.
They have also had issues with fuel shortage, but they are also being assisted in this area to continue operations. This is made possible through the community police partnerships that the command has.
The fuel, and we're very much appreciative of their support that is keeping us going. Otherwise, we shouldn't be running this operation because fuel is a very big problem to us and the car vehicle maintenance, like I said earlier.
Chief Inspector Kunyanban said despite these challenges, the Lae police have continued to operate because of this support. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lae.
5 suspects who were involved in a stone-throwing incident at Lae's Bumbu Market area have been identified as the sons of vendors. This is according to Lae's acting Metropolitan Commander Christopher Kunyanban. The incident resulted in vehicles being stoned and some passengers injured. Chief Inspector Kunyanban says the Bumbu Market might be closed if this continues.
Chief Inspector Christopher Kunyanban is urging people along this area to refrain from throwing stones at vehicles. He says a lot of vendors depend on this market to earn an income. However, it could be closed if the bad behavior continues.
So if they continue to do that, we will definitely close the market, and that will have detrimental effect, consequences to the surrounding villages and settlement.
Last week, Thursday, this PMV bus's windows were smashed by several men along the Bumbu Market area. According to witnesses, stones and other weapons were used. Passengers received injuries.
But mipla old man will sit down backside low. Some glass taso mipla kisi bagara.
So far, 5 suspects who were involved in the incident have been identified.
5 suspects are involved in it. Some of those suspects involved are sons of the vendors, market vendors at 39 Market, which is the Chinatown Market.
Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lae.
The director of a company that was awarded a contract to build a classroom at a primary school in the Nabak LLG of Nawai district in Morbe fled the province without completing the building after the money was paid into his account this year. This has caused the councillor to come forward, demanding the District Development Authority carry out an investigation with the help of police. The project cost 150,000 kina.
This is the classroom that was supposed to be utilized by the students of Hobu Primary School in Nabak LLG earlier this year. The contract cost 150,000 kina. The Nawai District Development Authority awarded the job to a contractor who was using another company's account details that the money was paid to. The building is incomplete because the director of the company left without notifying the contractors, according to the district's project officer.
League money come down, na all private team, na working no come up, na DDA wo looking just same heavy will come up, na sample fund all funding it.
This plan we want a big bagara inside long. All buildings now roads and all lanting all some incomplete project or took place English na work.
Like other districts in Morobe, Nawai District has cases of contractors not completing projects assigned to them that cost a lot of money. This is another project of Obu Primary School that cost 100,000 kina. The contractor, who is also a local there, began construction 2 weeks ago and is nearing completion.
Didi looks at Mibla community. I am also Mibla by community, but Mibla looks at I am responsibility of Mibla. Now Mibla can take ownership, making this work must come up now. Mibla will look Mosem or work am finished now.
Councillor Esoke said there should be proper processes followed when awarding projects to contractors. He has called on the DDA to seriously look into this and take legal actions against the contractors who fail to complete the projects.
Suppose this contract, making more, me like him you must give him some kind of penalty law. This contract so I must sim bagara blowing because one man making how much 1,000 man meri mibla suffer stuff. So more good. Me like him authority district must come down looks away and salim or fraud squad come inside looks away only more Islaman make sure Islam must sim penalty blongan.
DDA got big power where government give him authorized finish or some implement so Pokemon now yoda long. Why belong on him straight? The solution no. Suppose me looking more no, finish him over mark belong na. Swap him cut 1990 no last belong na complete project. Squad back him.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News.
The 7th Minister of Arts and Culture meeting under the Melanesian Spearhead Group convened in Kokopo this morning. The meeting followed on from yesterday's 8th Council of Arts and Culture meeting. The meeting today brought together ranking officials from Fiji, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu and Papua New Guinea from the Arts and Culture departments. Discussions from yesterday and today were centered around issues that are affecting and degrading Melanesian culture and heritage. Tourism Minister Emil Tamur, who officiated during the meeting today, says the 2 days meet has opened doors for PNG to learn from its sister countries within Melanesia. One of the main areas of focus for PNG will be tourism. Recommendations made within the 2-day meetings are expected to be further discussed in the next Melanesian Spearhead Group Leaders Summit. The Guinea-Goada Foundation yesterday received 3 APEC buses from the Department of Finance. The buses, once registered as public motor vehicles, will be used to transport passengers in Port Moresby and Lae.
Over the years, the Guinea-Goada Foundation has received buses from different partners to transport mostly women and children in Port Moresby. With its expansion to Lae, it is now also looking at sending one of the APEC buses there as well. The Foundation's bus services has promoted gender equality and has also protected women and children against violence and abuse.
For Guinea-Goada being doing the work that we do with the Merry Safe bus and the M bus, it's a bonus to us to get any bus at all. The last ones, the Ventura buses, of course, they were delivered 2 years ago from Melbourne. They were donated by the Ventura Bus Company.
Kiniguada Foundation's Assistant Foundation Manager, Philip Priestley, says with the new APEC buses given to them, they are now looking at transporting people living with disabilities as well.
You'll notice these buses are a lot lower than our regular buses at the moment, which means that we can utilize picking up people with disabilities. And we've been approached so many times, but because the older MSB buses, which are very high, and even our Ventura buses are too high for a disabled person to actually board the bus. So with these new ones, it's a simple matter of either making a small step or a ramp, then we can push wheelchairs in and we can get them into the bus successfully.
Mr. Priestley says at the end of this year, the famous Mary Safe buses will be turned over to Mary Buses or M-Bus. He says the charge no fare and free to ride will now stop, and all passengers getting on the Mary Buses will pay 1 kina only to get to their destination.
The government, through the RTA, want all PMVs on the road to be registered, which means once they're registered, it's a business and you can charge fares.
Mr. Priestley says currently the buses run only city routes, but they plan to apply for some blue plates so they can travel out of the city as well. Michelle Stephen, National EMTV News.
To one of our top stories this evening, and Borneo Pacific Pharmaceutical Limited today appeared before the Public Accounts Committee in an introductory meeting. The introductory meeting is the first step of the PAC's inquiry over government contracts for the procurement of medical supplies and drugs in the country. PAC Chairman Sir John Pundari said the inquiry is a result of public outcry.
Representing Borneo Pharmaceuticals today was Chairman Sir Martin Po, Health Secretary Pasco Kase, who represented the Health Department, and a representative from the National Procurement Commission. At the meeting, PAC Chairman Sir John Pundari explained the history of the procurement processes in the country and how Borneo was awarded the contract.
On 14 August 2019, Health Secretary, yourself, sir, announced Borneo Pacific had been awarded this year's contract to supply medical supplies and kits worth 100 million kina.
According to PAC Chairman Pundari, the inquiry will be conducted in 7 parts. In the first hearing tomorrow, the PAC will be looking into the history of Borneo Pacific Pharmaceuticals, followed by various processes that will need to be followed.
The committee, as part of Part 6, will conduct visitations to selected provinces and their health facilities. This, as a matter of cost efficiency, we would want to do that together with the free tuition fee, another inquiry that we are conducting into the Education Department. Part 7 of the Public Accounts Committee inquiry will be an inquiry to conclude.
The chairman says this public inquiry is for the best interest of the country and has nothing against state agencies.
We have no time limit to the inquiry. It is dependent upon the committee's satisfaction to the outcomes that we would want to get as a result of the inquiry. And this inquiry, as we all know, is as a result of the public outcry and all that was out in the media. And I must also specifically state, in no uncertain terms, that this is not about any one of us as members of the committee having a personal vendetta against any individual for that matter.
The first hearing of the inquiry commences at 10 a.m. tomorrow, which will see representatives from the Health Department and Borneo Pacific answering questions from the PAC. BPPL Chairman Sir Martin Po, who tried to make a comment, was advised by the chairman that he would be given an opportunity to speak during the hearing tomorrow. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
This is Tuesday's news. When we come back, we continue with more of today's stories. Don't go away. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas now, oil that is mysteriously washing up on beaches in Brazil is affecting both wildlife and local businesses, even as the government and volunteers scramble to clean up the sludge. The thick sludge has been washing up on the shores of northeastern Brazil for 2 months, affecting more than 200 locations along Brazil's coastline.
After the oil slicks washed up on beaches along more than 2,000 kilometers of tropical coastline, authorities and experts have been baffled by its origin. The heavy crude does not float on the ocean surface like most oil slicks, and traditional methods of keeping it off the shore have been ineffective. Hundreds of people have turned out to clean the beaches, many using their bare hands and feet for lack of gloves, boots, or even masks to block the fumes. A group of Brazilian army soldiers put down their guns and hit the beaches outside the city of Recife last Tuesday for the sticky mission, helping to clean up some of the oily sludge that has been spoiling the pristine coastline for the past 2 months. Brazil's government said last week that it had collected more than 600 tons of oil from its northeastern beaches since September 12th. The Brazilian government has said the oil spill is Venezuelan crude in origin, but has mostly stopped short of blaming their socialist government for the incident. Venezuela, however, denied it is to blame for the spillage. The oil sludge has also affected tourism activities in Brazil. Local tourist guide Evandelcio Santana said the region's mangroves are being polluted by the oil.
With this oil here inside, life won't be able to proliferate. Life won't be able to expand like it's always been able to proliferate and expand in this food chain here. So the biome of the land and the sea is here. So this is a disaster. This oil can't remain in our lives.
Local seafood vendors are also taking a significant hit.
Right now, no one is coming to fish because it's not worth it. We are catching and saving. It's not selling. Only when this agony is over, God willing, and our fish are freed up once again. But for now, we just come to look and we have to leave it until this agony passes.
Helen Sea, MTV's World News.
Fresh details of how Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was captured and killed have been released. The Islamic State leader died during a raid carried out by U.S. Special Forces in Syria over the weekend.
His compound leveled, the leader of ISIS dead, but Pentagon officials warning.
Baghdadi's death will not rid the world of terrorism or end the ongoing conflict in Syria. But it will certainly send a message to those who would question America's resolve.
The raid, led by the elite U.S. Delta Force, lasted 2 hours and included taking gunfire as they choppered in through skies controlled by Russia and Syria, using a dog to chase Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi on the ground before cornering him and his 3 young children he'd taken with him in a dead-end tunnel, where he set off a suicide vest, killing them all. The high-stakes operation accelerated, according to a senior State Department official, after Turkey launched its operation into Syria and the president announced the sudden withdrawal of U.S. troops, creating what they described as a chaotic situation, with the president accused of abandoning the Syrian Kurds, who the official praised as playing a very, very important role in the raid. Pentagon officials also confirming
there were 2 adult males taken off the objective alive, and they're in our custody.
Also this weekend, a separate airstrike that also led to the death of ISIS spokesperson, their number 2, Abu Hassan al-Muhajir. As the president declares success in the region.
He was big time. He built the ISIS caliphate. You hear about ISIS, that was him.
The mission not over as they continue to reposition troops throughout Syria.
The fundamental purpose of securing those oil fields is to deny those oil fields access to ISIS in order to prevent ISIS from resurgence.
3 people arrested in the UK truck tragedy have been released on bail. It's now understood more than 20 of the 39 victims were from Vietnam.
A shrine like this is normally for the dead in Vietnam, but Nguyen Dinh Thu's mother still doesn't know if she's praying to it for hope or in mourning. Come back home, my son, she says. We wish you had never left us. This is the pain left here by ruthless international gangs who promised these families they could buy their loved ones a better life. Yen Thang district in central Vietnam is now the land of the missing. We understand investigators have been given information that most of the 39 believed to be Vietnamese killed inside the Essex lorry came from this one single rural district. So we've travelled in the other direction, 6,000 miles from where the lorry was found, to find out why so many left here and find out what promises were sold to them about life in the UK. Tu's family told me they borrowed £26,000 to pay a so-called agent here. He was supposed to get Tu into Europe to work in a nail bar or something, his father said. Tu would pay off the debt, then send money home to help his wife and 2 children. If he's dead, it's too much debt for us to repay. Tu's father gave me a photograph of his son showing a distinctive tattoo. He hopes it can help police in the UK. In this single village of Phu Swan alone, we have found 2 families on the same street who have reported their loved ones missing, believed to be among the dead found in the back of the lorry in Essex. The community is already mourning. The families just want the bodies identified as quickly as possible so they can bring them home for a proper burial. Just a few doors away from Tu's home here, another family prays at their shrine. But Tin Young, aged just 19, suddenly stopped contacting her family on her way to England. Nhung would have done any job she could over there, her older brother told me. We're so poor, we barely have enough food to eat, and our father is dead. Why did she think it was worth the risk to try to get to England this way? When our dad passed away, we both dropped out of school to work and pay off family debts. She wanted to go to England to help our elderly mother. None of the families here can afford the travel to identify the bodies, so they had DNA taken today. It has been offered to Essex Police. But for now, the agony of their wait goes on.
Back home, and one of the most emerging crises in the world affecting countries, islands and different land masses is climate change. Papua New Guinea has its own fair share of climate change impacts after it became the first country to take climate change refugees. UN Resident Coordinator Gianluca Rampolla says people need to understand that climate change is real. Godwin Eki reports.
The first islands to fall victims to the effect of climate change in Papua New Guinea were the Carteret Islands, which are 86 kilometers northeast of mainland Bougainville. Climate change is a cross-cutting issue that is being witnessed across the globe, where changes in weather patterns are taking place and also causing problems such as rise in sea levels, droughts, frost, El Nino and other contributing factors. Recently, different government agencies were in New York for the UN Secretary General's Climate Summit to talk on actions on climate moving forward. Climate change is real were the exact words of the UN Resident Coordinator Gianluca Rampolla.
Climate change is real. And it's real in Papua New Guinea. I'm not sure how many of the followers know that actually the first displaced people impacted by climate change in the world come from actually some adults in Papua New Guinea.
He says one of the fundamental agenda is the engagement and advocacy, as PNG is a leading nation in the Pacific.
The whole issue is climate change is real, it's happening, it can't be questioned. The measures have to be put in place. Paris provides for a way forward. PNG has to play at different levels. PNG has to work on ensuring that there are enough investments to allow for adaptation, so as that those populations that are going to be affected the most by climate change are ready to deal with it and build up their resilience.
Matthew Van Ryn and Julian Fox from Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations says climate change is an emerging issue that needs to see the government and its partners work collaboratively in addressing the issues on climate change.
Because nature-based solutions are already here. It's not a technical solution. I mean, we have to protect, we have to restore, but it's they're available. And I think from my side, this is the most obvious response, immediate response to climate change.
Matthew Van says the two most important facets are mitigation and adaptation.
The countries can respond in different ways to this emerging crisis. And we have to think both about this, again, the mitigation and the adaptation aspects.
The impacts of climate change in other parts of the world is very much visible, where ice caps are melting faster than ever before, sea levels rising rapidly, and natural disasters affecting country after country. Now, under the Paris Agreement in 2020, all countries, both developing and developed, are expected to revise their national determination contribution, where for Papua New Guinea, it only means that it will need to take stock of what the country's priorities are and how best Papua New Guinea can cut down or limit the greenhouse gas emissions. The PNG government, through the Prime Minister, is stepping up to drive a global agenda on climate change and to show that PNG is not the only country that is adjusting to climate change. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Up next, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with Rugby League, and the Rugby League National Club Championships was reintroduced to provide an incentive for PNG RFL affiliated leagues to complete their competitions. But it is proving to be a solid competition, with clubs finding a new level of competition against other champion clubs within their confederates.
The Southern Confederate has confirmed 16 Premiership winning teams to participate in the National Club Championships knockout stages in the Southern Confederate before the finals in Lae. On Saturday, 2 Premiership winning clubs, brothers, the premiers of the Port Moresby Rugby Football League, took on premiers of the Port Moresby Suburban League, the Mountain Bulls Club. The brothers and Bulls rammed into each other for the chance to progress through to the next stage of the championships. The brothers held strong against an aggressive Bulls side. Their persistence rewarded accordingly when brothers managed to score first. The Bulls' cover defense was too slow to stop finisher Noni Bomai, who scored the unconverted try, taking brothers to a 4-0 lead. The Bulls could only manage a penalty conversion to trail 2 points to 4 into half-time. The Bulls tried their best to score in the second half, but could not figure out a set piece. Instead, devastated at full-time, going down by 2 points. Southern Confederate Director Gwaibo Mairi said affiliate leagues outside of Port Moresby are also going through their eliminations.
We have 16 confirmed for participation. We started off with the Gulf Province knockouts, and this is the NCD leg of the National Club Championships at the Confederate level. We're doing the Western Province, that's going to be in Kiunga. We hope to do Popondeta and Alotau next weekend.
The teams that have took part and have lost, like Hiri West and the Mountain Bulls, are knocked out of the championship race.
Knockout program where the losers bow out and the winners advance.
Considering that this tournament has been reintroduced, having clubs from each affiliate league of PNG RFL challenging each other brings a new level of competition for participating teams and a positive step by PNG RFL.
It gives another purpose for affiliates. As affiliates of Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League, they can, the best teams among the affiliates can compete against each other, which is another level of competition, and it's good. It's good for affiliates.
Frelis Sukina National, EMTV Sports.
In preparation for the British Lions tour to PNG, the PNG LNG Kumuls had their first training session today at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. Among players present today, Alex Johnson, who arrived in Port Moresby on Sunday. Johnson says he's excited to finally represent PNG after missing out in 2017 and 2018 due to injury.
Yeah, feel very excited. I wanted to play in the World Cup a couple of years ago and I tore my hamstring, and last year the same thing happened. So yeah, I got very unlucky the last 2 years, and this year I finally got through the season, finished the season strong, and yeah, as long as my body's right, I'll be playing for PNG, and yeah, I can't wait. When I got the call that I'll be playing, I was very excited. It's a great group of boys. Yeah, they welcomed me. It's been pretty hot over here, so I'm getting used to that. It's raining today, thank God. But yeah, no, it's been good. It's our first training session today. We got through it well, did a bit of con. The boys trained really well, and I think we got a day off tomorrow.
That's a very big addition to our Kumul side, and we all know what kind of player he is, the speed and the things that he brings to the game. So with his NRL experience, I think it's going to be vital for our side, and I'm really looking forward to play against him, and he's a good bloke as well. I met him today, so looking forward to that.
You know, his experience is massive. You know, he's been playing NRL for a number of years now, so he's going to be a massive asset for us. And yeah, his experience is going to be really good for some of the younger boys that are in the team as well. So I'm really excited, and yeah, our backs are pretty experienced now. So.
To boxing, and Oceania Fight Promotions is preparing to host their 4th fight night on the 1st of December. The main bout will be a title fight between PNG's John Karake and Chalempon Sawatsuk from Thailand.
Oceania Fight Promotions will host their 4th major event on December 1st at the Sir John Gais Indoor Complex. There will be 17 professional fights, with the main bout between PNG's John the Stopper Karake and Thailand's Chalempon Sawatsuk.
It gives me a great pleasure to announce that the Vice President of WBC ABCO, Mr. Damron Cole, will be personally flying into Port Moresby to supervise the title fight that will be happening at Sir John Gais Indoor Complex on the 1st of December 2019.
There will be 10 undercard bouts and 7 international bouts, including the main event. The fight night will also help PNG boxers prepare for the national titles to be held in March next year.
We have now been able to capture the attention of the WBC, World Boxing Council, and this is a great opportunity for our local fighters to be globally recognized.
Tickets for the fight began selling today at the Oceania Fight Promotions office and Vision City.
At our Jup Business Center, which is directly opposite Pacific Engineering on Curtin Street. It's Suite 1 in Waigani. And also we have a sales outlet at the Vision City. It's the Bimi Arts and Craft Shop. Tickets going for 25 kina gets you in the gate to watch some live events, and if you're interested, we've got corporate tables as well going for 5,000 kina and a seat by the ringside for 500 kina.
Oceania Fight Promotions has given PNG boxers the chance to learn and gain more experience by taking on other international boxers.
Vice Chairman of WBC will be here to witness the fight. There's a good chance for our local boys. And I urge the boxers to show their colors when they show their colors to this big man. And of course, he'll witness us that Papua New Guinea is a strong country and better country to tackle the world.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Don't go anywhere, Trukai Sports will continue with more right after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To some Rugby World Cup news, and the New Zealand All Blacks are having a day off from media duties as they prepare for Friday's 3rd and 4th playoffs. And England coach Eddie Jones is well and truly in finals form this week.
It's the kick that's so famous it became a film.
Stephen Donald. He has kicked it over.
Stephen Donald's journey from whitebaiting in the Waikato to World Cup hero is one Eddie Jones has regularly drawn on to inspire his side. But now faced with having to fly in his own replacement for a World Cup final, he's shying away from comparisons.
Well, he'll definitely have a shirt that fits him. So that's a significant difference. To my knowledge, he hasn't been whitebait fishing. So that's 2 significant differences.
Ben Spencer's been called up for injured halfback and former Crusader Willie Hines, who pulled a hamstring late in their semi-final win.
Yeah, he was in tears in the dressing room. It's tough for him, but he's collected himself.
Jones also sparking up when asked about Wales coach Warren Gatland, who'd earlier suggested England may have already played their World Cup final against New Zealand.
Guys, can you just send my best wishes to Warren and make sure he enjoys the 3rd and 4th playoff?
Entertaining as ever, Jones also reserving some praise for another Kiwi coach, his defence guru, John Mitchell.
Well, the assistant coach has done an outstanding job. You know, if you look at the percentage of work, I probably should give my money back. But I probably won't.
Despite the laughs, that money will be hard-earned again this week, working out a plan for that monster Springbok forward pack. But this England side certainly won't lack for belief or determination as they approach their final hurdle to ending 16 years of World Cup pain.
And that ends True Kai Sports for this evening. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby can expect some thundery showers and cloudy weather. Thundery showers in Alatau as well. Cloudy weather and some showers in Darum. Showers and rain drizzles in Kerma. Rain showers in Popondetta. To the Momasa region, showers and thunderstorms expected in Leh. Rain showers in Wau. A few showers in Madang. Thundery showers in Wewak and Vanimore. To the New Guinea Islands region, a shower or two expected in Lorengau and Kavieng. Thundery showers in Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka. Rain and showers in Kimbe. To the Highlands region, all the major centres, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundia, Mendi and Wabek can all expect showers over the next 24 hours with early morning fog developing.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Tuesday the 29th of October 2019. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team right around the country, pleasant viewing for the rest of the evening. Good night.